Do you know your purpose in life? Believe it or not, each of us was put here for a specific reason. Finding out what that is can be challenging, but not impossible. And what you do find may surprise you.
The adventure of inner exploration is in fact full of surprises. None bigger than discovering just how your talents and abilities can work together to shape a mission for your life. I'm Mark Thurston, and I'm pleased to be with you for this course on discovering your mission in life, which is based on the spiritual advice Edgar Cayce gave to nearly 2,000 people, helping them to find a deeper sense of purpose and meaning. Cayce's promise was that every one of us can come to an understanding of a specific purpose for which we were born, a mission that involves making a creative contribution to the world around us. For most of us, that mission does not involve becoming famous, but everyone's mission is actually of equal importance. Each of us is here for a purpose that is part of God's plan. Our course together will be in 12 lessons to follow this introduction. All of the lessons will include inspirational and informative material designed to take you another step along the path of identifying your own mission. Many of the lessons will include testimonials or interviews with people like you who've been on this self-discovery process. Many of the lessons will involve taking time to ponder questions I pose to you and then making your responses onto worksheets specifically designed for this course. Let's get started with some examples of what Cayce meant by the mission for which a soul comes into the world. In the Cayce readings, a person's mission was not presented as a job title or single occupation. Instead, it was portrayed in broader terms, as a direction for life. That mission statement always left room for many different career possibilities, as well as free time interests and volunteer activities. For some people, the mission is fulfilled most directly through the work they do. For others, their job is only a way to earn money to pay the bills. Just in small ways do they find a chance to accomplish their mission on the job. They have to look outside of the typical 9-to-5 workday for activities that relate to a deep spiritual calling. What does a life mission statement look like? It defines the purpose of the soul in terms of talents and service. Here are 3 examples from the Cayce readings. To be a spiritual leader, using the arts as a way of reaching people. To help and guide others to see the spiritual meaning in numbers. To edit and reshape the ideas of others so those ideas can be better understood. This 3rd example is an interesting case from the Cayce files. A woman in her 60s wrote and asked for a life reading. She was near retirement age, but still had a strong curiosity to know the highest calling and purpose of her life. In her reading, Cayce revealed the exact nature of her mission. Her true vocation was to act as a bridge between the masses of people and those creative thinkers who couldn't always communicate their ideas very well. Her gift was with words and their meanings. She was sensitive to what was and wasn't clear to general readers. This case is noteworthy because of what it didn't say to a person of this age. No references can be found of missed opportunity. Nowhere in this reading was she criticized or consoled for having failed so far in her mission. Instead, the tone was one of promise and optimism. She was told that there was still plenty of time to get on with the spiritual purposes for which she was born. These statements are equally true for anyone living today. No matter how old you are, no matter how little you may have seen or applied your soul's purpose until now, opportunities still exist to get on track with your calling. Of course, the ways in which you act upon your mission at the age of 30 may be different than what you would do at the age of 50 or 80. However, be assured that at any point in your life, there are things you can do that relate to your highest purposes as a soul. The same point was made in a reading given for another woman. She wondered if she had any opportunities to fulfill her mission and asked, "Is there anything in particular I can do now to accomplish the reason for the present incarnation?" Cayce's answer was both humorous and wise. He responded, If there hadn't been, you wouldn't be allowed to be in the earth in the present. The same principle holds true for us today. We're here because we still have things to do in order to fulfill our missions. A few people were fortunate and received a life reading from Edgar Cayce when they were children. Charles Thomas, you were lucky enough to get some spiritual advice about your life and your mission from your grandfather, Edgar Cayce. What role did that information play for you?
Well, Mark, this advice was given when I was just a few hours old, and I have struggled with that over the years. But in essence, it was a kind of shortcut to answers to questions that we've been dealing with today. The reading suggested that there were certain strengths and talents that I could work on in this lifetime, and it described several weaknesses that I needed to work on to avoid and not get confused and pulled down by these. Also, the reading described some patterns with regard to relationships that I should try to understand better and perhaps try to heal. I think often a life purpose or life mission includes these patterns involving relationships.
And presumably that's the kind of information we can discover for ourselves even if we don't get a life reading.
I think so. As I said, my reading was really just a shortcut, in a sense, to information that I really think I could have come across myself if I'd had one of these sorts of programs.
Yeah. One message comes through most clearly in Cayce's readings about finding your soul's purpose. Something in all of us is hungry for a sense of meaning. As human beings, we require some purpose for being here. For thousands of years, people have wondered, how did we get here? Why does there seem to be injustice in the world? Do we survive physical death? Cayce's life readings offered answers to universal questions like these, but they did something more. They spoke to the individual about his or her own life. The life reading showed men and women how profound meaning and purpose can be discovered in the midst of ordinary life. Cayce went so far as to suggest that it's within the ordinary aspects of life that something extraordinary can happen. In other words, making life great does not necessarily mean doing great things in the eyes of other people. It means just being yourself, but your true self. In lesson number 1, we'll explore the two sides of who you are. One keeps you stuck in old habits. The other side of yourself is the authentic self that knows why it's here and is ready to live a purpose-filled mission.